Hello, everybody. Welcome to Her Story, Her Impact Show. Yes, friends, in this show, we are inviting every time some achiever, some women entrepreneur who has achieved amazingly in her life. And we want you to learn from her achievements so that you can get inspiration to carry on and to aspire to be an entrepreneur in your life. So, yes, today we are having Miss Minal Srinivasan, Managing Director of Kesari Infrabuild Pvt Limited. She is a passionate advocate for sustainable development and one of the India's most respected voices in environmental consulting. Under her leadership, Kesari has grown from a specialized firm into a multi-vertical sustainability powerhouse, delivering real, on ground impact through large scale projects that are shaping greener cities and communities across India. Welcome, Veena, to our show. Such a pleasure to have you.
Good morning, Charu, and thank you so much for having me on the show. And let me congratulate you as well for doing such a fantabulous job of outreaching to people. And it's a very noble endeavor of spreading knowledge, disseminating knowledge across to the masses of the country and for aspiring young leaders as well. So,
Thank you so much.
congratulations for that.
Thank you for your kind words, Meena. So, yes, I'm all eager to know. So, you transformed KPL from a niche water management firm into one of the India's top 10 environmental consultancies. What was the most important mindset shift you had to make while scaling from a specialist role to leading a multi vertical organization? Please share.
Absolutely. Charu, I think my journey has been pretty checkered, so to say, starting from academia, operations in international markets, where I was always part of building businesses because that is what has driven me all throughout. And then when I joined my husband's family business, which not a family business, it's something which he started. Uh, I thought that we were in a very good space
Mhm,
where we would get to do a lot of good work
mhm,
and also grow the organization. Initially, we started as an environmental consultancy firm where we were operating on various domains of even water treatment, but to a very large, small extent, I would say. And I would see around me there was the entire ecosystem was changing. The world order was changing. The emphasis on environment sustainability was growing much higher. Also, COVID was a great game changer and a great leveler at the same time. And hence, I saw the changing needs of the world around you, the increasing focus on health, well-being,
yes.
the usage of planet's resources. I mean, honestly, till then, till probably 10 years back, we never even thought of environment as a resource or Earth as a resource, which we are kind of exploiting. But I think post COVID, there was a lot of this mindset shift that was happening because we've seen the repercussions of this exploitation which we've really done for decades. And that's where I saw that there's a huge gap in the market in terms of, you know, environmental infrastructure industry where people wanted to have a one-stop shop provider for meeting various needs of the environmental infrastructure. To be very honest, in fact, environmental infrastructure is not a word which was even existent at that point in time. And I kind of conceptualized in my head at that point in time that yes, there is something called environmental infrastructure which caters to ensuring that there is a balance between the planet's limitations and the human needs. Uh, so one is the changing need, the changing market dynamics, the changing environment around us. The second was the huge gap that I observed because people were offering services in pockets. Somebody was just catering to compliances, somebody was just catering to regulatory approvals, but these was on the consultancy part. The third aspect, which I also thought is consultancy was always on the periphery, which means you end up advising to the clients.
Correct.
Okay. But how about actually doing things by yourself? And that's where I said that, okay, while you look at everything from a consultancy lens, in terms of understanding the regulatory framework, understanding what is that the law is demanding, all of that. But we also need to play a very, very active role in terms of implementation of the environmental infrastructure. We also looked as water, which is an integral element of various aspects of environment. And these aspects are all interconnected because you cannot isolate water. There are other aspects like soil, air, wastewater, hazardous waste, all of these are what we call as the functional areas, in our parlance. And seeing that interconnectedness and seeing the gap of services which need to be delivered to each of these aspects, was a very exciting proposition for me in my head,
Must be.
especially biodiversity.
Very
uh,
true.
you know, how do you kind of create those kind of microclimates, which in turn have a larger impact on the overall climate? So that is, and I've been a nature lover myself. I've been brought up in that kind of an environment. So that is something which naturally attracted to me. So, trying to see that interconnectedness of things around us and the desire to actually do something and implement something, not just be on the periphery of advising clients and build services around implementation, gave the thought that yes, we need to, and there are multi verticals, as you rightly mentioned, there are many verticals around each of these areas that we can build. But of course, at Kesari, we've specifically focusing on the biodiversity and the water and wastewater, along with the consultancy services that we do.
Okay.
And I think that's where the whole thought process. And
Must be a journey.
yeah,
Must
it
be
is
a journey.
absolutely an exhilarating journey, I must say, full of ups and downs. But I've been enjoying every bit of it. Also, the
Fantastic.
other aspects that I mean, in my overall approach to how do I build an organization which is multi-vertical, I think it requires a very different approach. When you focus on one area, you specifically focus on the technical skills and capability of one person. But when you have to look at a multi-vertical journey, you need a lot of technical expertise across various functional areas, and not only just technical expertise, but also functional expertise across domains of HR, finance, marketing, sales, etc.
Very true.
So yeah, so that was a huge growth for me as well in terms of learning. And you
Fantastic.
also needed to develop a systems thinking, a
Hmm.
holistic approach. So I think that was probably the entire mindset. If you ask me in one word, what is the mindset shift?
Yeah.
I think systems shifting all to a system thinking is something which
Wow.
I had to do, and that
Very
that was
impressive.
phenomenal.
Very impressive, Meenal. And yes, the work which you are doing and Kesari is doing and sharing information and related to environment sustainability, I think, yes, after COVID, things have changed. More awareness is required. And only not awareness and information and knowledge. What I also believe, action is the key. Any knowledge without any action is just superficial. So wonderful work done by K3. Can you share one more thing? With over 250 large-scale environmental projects and more than 1 million square meters of developments approved, which you have done, what is one sustainability misconception that still needs to be reformed at the industry level? Can you share your insights about it?
Yeah, I mean, I've been itching to talk about this because when I talk to people and when they say, "Oh, you're working in environment, you're working in sustainability,"
Correct.
so you all do the ESG thing, right? So you all
Right.
also do the ESG thing. So unfortunately, and rightly so, honestly, because a lot of awareness. I mean, this is a sunrise industry, right? This is not even an industry, I would say.
Correct.
Because it spans across all domains of the businesses, so to say, because everything that you do impacts environment in one way or the other. Even the way we live impacts environment, right? So anyway, that's a different conversation. But yeah, coming back to your question, uh, there is this huge misconception that sustainability is ESG,
Okay.
because these words are so interchangeably, and sorry to say, but a lot of times so loosely used because of lack of knowledge and lack of awareness. Even at the industry level, a lot of times, I mean, unless people who are in that function, so to say.
Mhm.
So ESG is essentially environmental social governance. That's the matrix that is been defined and used to ensure that your actions balance out the environment and the planet's limitations, okay,
Okay.
versus the human
Mhm.
needs. Okay. But sustainability is an entire systemic concept. It requires a systemic change in the way we think, the way we use the environmental resources, the way we build, and the way we recycle and reuse. Okay, so sustainability essentially encompasses the principles, the core principles of circular economy,
Mhm.
where the underlying principles are use, recycle, and reuse, versus the earlier, gray economy, where we linear economy, if I may say so, that you just use, build, and dispose.
Correct.
Okay, so that's one huge
Mhm.
difference, that sustainable, and especially when you talk about sustainable infrastructure, it essentially means including or building infrastructure which does not require a lot of remediation or post correction post the building, which
Okay.
essentially means that the design of the infrastructure, the material that you use in the sustainable infrastructure, what kind of material you are using, what kind of design you are using. Are these aspects facilitating the minimal usage of energy, the minimal usage of water, the reuse of water, the minimal pollution that you would throw in the air? So addressing various elements of sustainability is what you need to incorporate. But most often people confuse that with ESG.
Yes.
ESG is just a measurement
Measurement.
matrix,
Correct.
measurement matrix, but
Very well
sustainability
explained.
is
Yeah.
far more encompassing than that aspect. Yeah. So I don't know if I'm able to
No,
kind
no,
of
definitely.
communicate.
Definitely, definitely. It
Sorry, it
makes
might
so
get a
much
little
sense.
technical.
And yeah, there is a confusion, right? We know that people get confused, and if the awareness is right awareness, then I think right decisions can be done. It will be more helpful for the environment. So I think great work done by Kesri, and it should continue. So we'll love to know more about your work. So Kesri works closely with government bodies and global corporations. Beyond credentials, what truly builds long-term trust with large institutions in sustainability and infrastructure projects? I mean, must be great experience. You all are working with the big names, but something you want to share about this experience.
See, Charu, like every other business, trust building is a process which is defined or which is emboldened through the work that you do, right? So, and especially with corporates, and especially uh, in today's dynamic world where everything is changing so fast, and so is the environmental industry or the environmental infra industry. I think the tenets remain the same in terms of whether you're an environmental infra business or you're in an FMCG business. So,
Mhm.
uh, at the cost of sounding redundant, I would still say that those are the basic building blocks still remain. The work that you do. But specifically talking about the industry we operate, which is highly regulated, and
Yes.
highly regulated and highly watched and monitored
Yes.
now.
Yes. Things have
So the
changed.
things have changed, so which
Correct.
was not the case 10, 15, 20 years ago with
Correct.
the MOSBC and other regulatory bodies that are coming full force into action. I think the shared risk taking ability, which essentially, so if I talk about environmental compliance work that we do, in a way, as environmental consultants, we are sharing the risk which the client is taking. And as long as you are able to demonstrate that by giving them the right advice and ensuring that the environmentally compliant infrastructure gets built,
Mhm.
things are fine. But because of the kind of penalties that the government is levying on non-compliance is going higher and higher, and it will further get stringent as the days go. So in that sense, we are in it as much as the client is. So if
Mhm.
we are able to demonstrate that kind of a risk, which where we are with them in terms of ensuring that whatever they build, whatever they operate is environmentally compliant. I think that is one big trust building factor. And I'm seeing that when we are working with larger corporates, they are very, very particular about environmental compliances,
Hmm.
because one is through corporate social responsibility. Obviously, they have certain aspects to deliver, so that's a big part of it. But otherwise, also the punitive measures which the government levies on corporates are pretty high. So in that sense, that becomes a very important part. So I think the risk sharing, if I may say so, with the corporates when it comes to compliances, that's one area. I think the second is data driven approach, and
Okay.
you know demonstrable outcomes which are substantiated by the data. Okay. So, for example, when we do water and wastewater treatment plants, or we do, for that matter, even any of the biodiversity initiatives, what is the impact that these initiatives have had on the overall environmental parameters? So, we not only advise, implement, but we also measure the impact, which is again becoming a very important matrix already.
So
And when you
important. Yeah.
define a matrix, it has to be data
Supported.
driven, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
supported
has to
by
be
some data.
supported by data. So when we are able to show that there is a 4-degree temperature reduction in the place that where we've done the plantation versus the habitat which is just outside it, that is demonstrating the impact of the work that
Wow.
you've done.
Very well said. Makes so much
So I
sense.
think, yeah, so I think because initiatives and implementations for the heck of implementation doesn't really make sense,
No.
because you need to keep the larger objective in mind. Why are we doing this? We are doing this to conserve, nurture the environment, and to ensure that we're not polluting it further. So if you have your line of sight on the broader vision towards which you are working, I think your work automatically speaks volumes, because you are not interested in just doing the work and finishing it off. You are
Very true.
interested in ensuring that the outcome that you have envisaged is achieved, and
Fantastic.
you define those outcomes by the matrix which you build around it. And I think that is something which the clients would love to see. And we in fact proactively say that we will do the pre and post monitoring, and we will give you the pre and
Okay.
post reports on various environmental parameters. So I think these
So
two
well.
things have really worked for us.
Very well said, Meenal. In fact, data is a new oil, right? Data is so important at present time. It's a new currency,
Yeah.
it's a new oil. And as much as we can prove the facts through data, nobody can question. So I think that's a very valid point you have shared with us. My favorite question. So infrastructure remains a traditionally male-dominated space. We all know, like, was there a moment when choosing your own leadership style as a woman created a meaningful breakthrough in your journey? Some experience you want to share?
Oh my God. I mean, this is my favorite question as well. Because
Yes, we all are, sharing about women empowerment across. So I really
yeah.
want to know and dig out that secret and that tip. Yes, please go on.
So, I mean, honestly, Charu, there's no one secret. I think my journey has been my professional and personal evolution all along as a human being.
Mhm.
I may sound a little too philosophical, but honestly, that's what it is. And that evolution continues. I think till the time I am alive, it will continue. Whether woman or no woman. But yeah, coming to your question of how it is for a woman, I think it's a very valid question, and I just love to speak about it because it's been a hard journey. I mean, let's not uh, you know
Definitely,
beat
definitely.
around the bush, and let's not try to sugarcoat it.
Correct,
As a woman entrepreneur, and especially in a male dominated area, which
correct.
you mentioned, um, you kind of breaking stereotypes all throughout,
Very true.
because you're breaking perceptions, you're breaking stereotypes of what a woman should be and
Yes.
should do, and how she should come across, and how she should dress up, and so because it's very easy to form
Opinions.
your opinions and perceptions. People
Correct.
don't really have the time to think and get into details, because
Very
that's too
true.
energy
Very true.
consuming. So it's been tough, and all along breaking, and every experience, I would say, Charu, every experience has built me. Every instance has built me. Every initiative, every interaction with clients. So I'll just give you an example. I mean, without naming it, it's one of the largest conglomerates of India, and we were doing this huge, afforestation project. And when I
Okay.
went from like my first meeting, which I came to know much later that something like this was said, that is she going to be doing this 10 acres of afforestation work? Really? Let's
Oh.
see.
Then,
And but that's okay. I mean, these are the challenges I love. And I love to break stereotypes, and I love to, I won't say prove people wrong, but I prove myself right.
correct. That
Honestly,
should be
it's
the
not about
spirit.
proving
Right.
anybody wrong. And to prove myself right in terms of what is it that I can do and what is it that I can't. I honestly, I don't have any word like can't do in my dictionary, but recognizing the limitations. But the journey is all about, pushing the limitations farther and farther away, till such time that you realize that there are no limitations,
Very true.
you know. So sorry for the bell. I had asked
No
the
worries. No worries.
bell
It's
to
okay.
be
It's okay.
closed,
It's
but
pure, authentic conversation we are having. I'm happy about it. So, yes, please go ahead. So,
yeah.
how you
So
moved,
yeah, tell me.
how you took the step, what you did after that when they objected.
Uh, I think no, just my work. I think I have always let my work speak for
Okay.
itself. Over the process, I have built a lot of technical expertise, which is something which I had not, because that is what lends you credibility. Your
Very
knowledge
true.
is what lends you credibility for people to take you seriously. And as a woman entrepreneur, we need to understand that we are all subjected to whole lot of biases, whole lot of underrepresentation, whole lot of people not taking you seriously.
True.
Right from your clients to a lot of times even your peers, even your subordinates, all of that. Being a woman in a male-dominated industry, because you are breaking the stereotypes, you're breaking the perceptions. Uh, but staying resilient through all those experiences and building your resilience each time,
Yes. Valid
you
point.
know, and pushing your limits of resilience higher and higher and higher is something that has really worked for me. So earlier, honestly, Charu, I used to get very upset. You know, we as women have to go that extra mile to
Correct.
show that okay, uh, you're not just, sorry to use the word, but babes in the wood, but you have a lot more to your personality than what people can perceive. So the amount of effort that you need to prove yourself is much, much higher. I used to get upset that why is it this way? But then, after a point in time, you learn to accept the reality and say, so it's okay, it's just fine. I looked at it very honestly, very positively. If that's pushing me to become a better, stronger, more knowledgeable, more
Yes.
technical savvy human being, that's a great opportunity.
Very
That's a
true.
great opportunity.
Very well said,
You
Meena.
know?
All such opportunities should be taken by women entrepreneurs as an opportunity to go to a next level, to be a better
Absolutely.
version of yourself.
Yeah,
Because we
absolutely.
don't know everything, right? We have to keep upskilling ourselves regularly,
Yeah,
and many things are there which we have to still learn. So that mindset of a learner mindset, and any challenge comes, thinking it's an opportunity, I will be the next version of myself. I think that gives joy, that gives happiness, and more confidence to take it and move on.
absolutely. I think it has made me a better professional, a better person, psychologically, uh, even socially to a large extent. Personally, definitely yes. And I see myself as a changed person today, a different version of me, because the kind of clients that, I mean, I would say 17, 18 years of my corporate life, I was dealing with a particular type of clientele, which is very elite, niche, polished. I was
Yeah.
dealing with academia, corporates, C-suite leaders. And then suddenly when you get onto infrastructure works, you
Very
have
true.
to deal with various levels of people.
Very true.
I have to deal with government officials, I have to deal with realtors, I have to deal with contractors, laborers. So I think, but that is really because, it has broadened my horizon, to be very honest, in terms of becoming far more empathetic, far more appreciative of the opposite person's perspective because of the sheer ecosystem in which you operate.
Very well said, Minal.
And
Loved
that
it.
that really helps you grow
Very true.
tremendously. I realize the lacuna in my thinking. uh, I realize the loopholes in the way I used to think. So when you're met with a different uh, when you encounter a completely different situation which you've never encountered before, there's a lot of introspection which you need to do as to what part of you needs to be
Right.
changed to be able to handle that successfully.
Very
So I
well
think
said.
that's been a huge growth for me
Fantastic.
as a, yeah.
My last question, Meenal, this can help many
So
women who are looking at infrastructure or sustainability as a career option. So, what preparation can help them to step in with confidence, and what strength will allow them to make a lasting impact? Can you share some tips for those women?
tips in the sense, I'll just share with you how I have looked at it, and
Correct.
what aspects I have leveraged on. So I'm a great fan of neuroscience. So there's a lot of books that I've read on brains and how
Wow.
the human anatomy, especially the neurology of a woman's brain, is
High
different than that
five.
of.
Same here. Love it. Love the field. I just love this field.
No, yeah. So because that's one of the levers for your growth, I believe, knowledge of how your brain operates, and that in
Correct.
turn impacts psychology. So, anyways, now let me not digress. But
Yes, the topic is
I think,
different.
yeah.
And that needs different coffee session.
Yeah, absolutely. We can definitely have that. So, the reason why I brought this out is women are wired to be a lot more empathetic than men are, And so, as I mentioned to you earlier, also that the hard power and the soft power, if we are able to leverage the soft power which women have, that is a more inclusive approach to leadership, a more collaborative approach to leadership, a more empathetic approach to leadership, where you encourage diverse perspective and look at the bigger picture, looking at things in a holistic manner. I think that is what has helped me and has created a huge differentiator for myself. And I think this is something which we are God gifted, and we
Correct.
should be able to leverage this aspect. I think that's from a psychological standpoint. The other tactical aspect is today, with the advent of social media, the outreach and knowledge dissemination is so ubiquitous today that it's much easier to understand and gain knowledge on every aspect of it. So build your technical expertise, because that is what is going to give you credibility to be going out and the confidence to be able to stand against anyone for that matter. So build
Fantastic.
your technical expertise. And today, building technical expertise with the kind of YouTube channels, with the kind of platforms that are available, it's never been easier.
Correct.
I
Very true.
remember growing up, the only way to acquire knowledge was, apart from your school and your parents, was books, and there were
Library. Yeah.
libraries. So you never had anything at the tip of your
Correct.
fingertips, wherein.
Very well said.
And that's such a boon. That's such a
That's
blessing.
a
So
boon.
even platforms, honestly, platforms like Insta, if you know what is the right kind of content that you need to serve, you have everything on your fingertips.
See,
There's so
very
many,
well said. Very well
and there
said.
are so many platforms that are available today for women entrepreneurs. So many sponsored programs which are there. And
Correct.
last but not the least, seek out for mentors.
I
Seek
love
out
it.
for mentors who will help you, guide you, share their experiences. Because you don't have to spend you don't have to pay the cost of learning, because you'll be already learning from someone else. I mean, that's something which I always lament that I had to learn everything through my own
Yeah.
experience, most of it, So I think that is something which you
Fantastic.
can do much
Thank you.
easier. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Meenal. Wonderful share, and I wish you all the best. And yes, thank you so much for coming to our show. Take care.
Thank you, Charu. Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye
Have a
bye.
nice